Hey guys, welcome in this new video. I hope that all of you are doing great. So in today's video, we will do a trade breakdown video on the USDCHF trade that I took now 2 weeks ago and that I closed yesterday. So before we get into this, if you could just please like this video, I would truly appreciate it because, I take a lot of my personal time as well to do these videos, and I always try to bring you guys as much value as possible. So just liking the video is all I ask. I would truly appreciate it, and it also shows me if you like that type of videos or not. So leave a like under the video, and also you can follow my Instagram that is right here. That is where I'm most active right now. I always, try to bring you guys value there as well. So like I said, today we have a trade breakdown video on the USDCHF trade that I closed actually yesterday. So here is the screenshot of the trade that I posted in my store. So this trade ended up as a really great trade, made over 200 pips on that one, and 2.6% of growth of my trading account. So that was a really good trade. I'm happy with how it actually went after. And so in this video, we will basically just break down this trade. I will show you guys what was my thought when I took the trade, what was my analysis, what happened after, why did I close the trade, and all of these things. So as you know, normally that type of videos and analysis are reserved for Reversal Master students. So if you don't know what Reversal Master is, well, it's basically a trading course that I've created and that I still run to this day. And where I teach my students how to trade. But I do these videos for the people as well who cannot afford my course, in hopes that it can also help them as much as possible. But if you would like to learn more about trading, work with me directly as well, you can check out the link in the description. It will bring you over to the Reversal Master website, and you will find all the information considering the course. Alright, so enough talking, let's jump on my chart and look at this trade. So we are now on my chart, and let's look at this USDCHF trade. So first of all, let's look at the entry and the exit level, because it will give you guys a good idea of how this trade actually went. So this is my entry. This is where I took the trade when it broke out of this correction. Basically, I took out this trade right here. The stop was under here, not totally under the correction, because here you see that we had a small flag. So I was able to put my stop a little higher, and I exited the trade, well, like I said yesterday, right here, for many reasons that we will break down in today's session. But first of all, let's look at the higher picture. So let's go even on the weekly chart. So you see on the weekly chart that here we made a very distinctive pattern. We have this 1, 2, 3 correction here. We have an impulse, and we are making another correction. So on the long term, we are maybe actually going back up for a much bigger movement. And that movement is maybe still going. If it actually is still going, then I will be able to re-enter the trade around these levels to continue the upside. But for now, before we actually continue the upside, I'm expecting some downside before it goes more upside, which is why I closed the trade to take my profit on that first trade on USDCHF. So now let's go on the lower time frame. So you see here that we have our main impulse. We had this 1, 2, 3 correction right here. It's not a 1, 2, 3 pattern, right? It's not because there are 3 waves that you have a 1, 2, 3 pattern. These are 2 distinctive aspects. But basically here you have this 1, 2, 3 wave, and after we were thinking that this would go back up. So the only moment where this was actually confirmed that we were going back up was right here. Before, we still had a lot of possibility for downside, or just a correction here before we actually would go more downside. That was another possibility that I was looking at, but when I took the trade, it was very clear that it was simply going back up because of the structure that we had here on the lower time frame. You will also be able to see on the R side that this is telling us upside. We had some divergence here. We have oversold as well. I think we also had it on the daily chart, if I don't mistaken. We had some oversold here, so that actually shows us that this correction was probably over, meaning that this will not go back down, right? So that's why I use all time frames as well, because they all give me different information. Of course, there are many other reasons as well why I take trade and why I close them. Like I said here, I'm just giving you guys the more, let's say, main information and important ones to understand before you can actually understand the deeper stuff. So when we go back now on the 4 and let's go even on the 1 hour, well, you will see here that the first possible trade that you could have taken for the buy was right here. And I saw that trade, but I decided to not take it simply because at this point, like I said, we still had the possibility of going much lower after, which is why it was a more risky trade to take. But after that, we continued upside. We made this once again 1 2 3 pattern. It is not a classic 1 2 3, it's another type of pattern, but you still have 3 waves inside of it. And then you actually broke upside, and when we broke, well, I simply took the trade here. My stop, like I said, it was there for the same reasons that I told you before. And after, well, I just kept the trade. It went and continued upside pretty strongly. We got this nice correction right here. We got another impulse. We got another correction. We got another impulse. We got another correction here, another impulse. And so when we were at the top here Friday, well, first of all, we had the NFP news, which always is, a kind of warning sign, because the market can create and, have a lot of momentum basically when that news is released. So it's always a warning sign, but it's not at the same time, a very, let's say, clear sign, if you know what I mean, about closing the trade or just keeping up with the trade. So whenever there's a news, it's not really about whether you should close or not close the trade. It's really about understanding the possibility that this news can bring to the market, and that's a big difference. But anyway, so let's continue here about what I was talking about. So we had the NFP news, it was Friday, and at this point right here, when we actually broke out of this correction, right, around these levels, well, we knew that this had a lot of possibility to actually start turning downside. So just to give you guys some reasons of that and why we were thinking that, first of all, we had high divergence on the RSI. We had as well two, well, even more than two overbought, but these are the two, most important one. And when you just look at the structure, right, if we go back on the daily, well, you see that this impulse here was extremely strong, right? This was a very strong move. And if you look at, other impulses that happens on the chart, well, it's rare that, they just keep going like this forever, right? You always get those bigger corrections, right? That is simply how the markets move. You always get bigger corrections before you continue the movement, like it's just part of the market. And so here, as you can see, well, we haven't got any bigger correction yet. So that is what I'm expecting here. I think that we will get, like I said at the beginning, some more downside before we actually continue the upside impulse. So for the upcoming weeks, I think we will see some correction here on USDCHF. And so with all the other tools, like I said, the RSI, the trend lines here that we add as well, the fib level as well, well, everything was basically telling us that this impulse here was over when we actually broke out right there, and we are actually getting now a nice confirmation for a potential downside, right? You see this little correction here, so we may see more downside actually in the upcoming weeks. I don't think it's a reversal pattern or anything like that, more just like a bigger correction, and then we will continue the upside. But I still decided to take my profits there because I'm expecting a much deeper correction, right? And if you actually look at it with the correlation of the impulse that we had before, well, it can come back, pretty deep, and that will still be, a very nice correction. It doesn't have to, take that form and that specific pattern. I'm just showing it as an example, but it can come back pretty deep, since this actually went very strong and created a big upside move. So it doesn't have to just be small correction here and go back up. It can also be a much bigger correction before it goes back up. So that's why you need to be careful when you see that type of patterns, because sometimes you get those bigger correction, right? And I think you can see them very easily when you just look back at the chart, right? You just had one here as well, something very similar to what I think will actually happen right here. So that was the entry, the stop, the exit level, and I just give you guys all basically the main reasons why I did what I did on that trade. So I hope that this helped you, and that was the trade breakdown for the USDCHF trade. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that it helped you and that you learned something new. If you did, please share this video with another trader, because if it helped you, then it's likely going to help another person, right? So thank you for watching. Leave a like under the video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Take care, trade with care, manage your money well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.